Hello there, Rabbi. And today we have a special guest, Moses. So glad of you to make the journey all the way from Mount Ararat to our video channel.
Oh man, it was a long journey, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to just have you guys, and I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Well, we were hanging out one day at the local barista fountain,
Yeah,
and Moses was there doing some video stuff, and we all got to talking, and we thought it would be great for him to come online and visit with us because you had questions about Judaism.
yeah,
There are a lot of them, and we answered a few of them there, but we wanted to get you on record.
yeah. I did, and it's crazy because I wouldn't have said anything. I mean, had you guys not approached me, and um, I just remember you bringing the cup with the roses. That was actually a pretty bright idea, by the way. That was good. The video came out well, but it's. I was saying it was funny that you mentioned it because when I had met you folks, me and my friend were talking about Judaism like a week ago before that, and we were having a debate and about conversion, the difference between difference in the religion, if there's a difference between uh, people from who are in
Mhm.
Israel with Judaism, and so I guess running into you folks was pretty good to just clear up some of those questions, and um, I'm all
Perhaps
ears.
even an act of divine intervention, one could say.
Yes, yeah,
The word
definitely.
in Hebrew is beshert. It was meant to be. We
Share.
talk about kismet. There's a lot of words in different religions that mean part of the universal plan.
Yeah.
But in Judaism, it was beshert. It was meant to happen.
Wow. But share it. I'm gonna keep note of that.
And you'll also hear the word beshert that people use for soulmate. That's where soulmate comes from. This idea that I was meant to be with this person. It's part of the universal plan, universal consciousness. So
Really.
the word itself has a lot of uses and be very difficult to prove. I I believe that it was Beshert because
Yes.
Joe and I were in our Adirondack chairs. You were walking into a fountain fully clothed, and Joe was concerned that your camera would get wet.
But we digress from the matter at hand. So, Moses, your question is what's the difference if you were converting in Israel versus if you were converting it to Judaism in the United States?
Okay, I think let's start with conversion because there's a lot of misconceptions about conversion. And there are a lot of people that think Judaism is a nationality and not a religion, and you have to be born into it. And it's not true. From the very beginning, it's written in the Torah. You shall treat the stranger among you as a citizen and resident. And if someone wants to join, they join. So we want to first start by separating. Joe is an American Roman Catholic. I am a Jewish American. Religion, nationality. One doesn't exclude the other. And just to add to it, one of the most common remarks American Jews make when they go to Israel is the people don't look Jewish. And
Mm.
the reality is they're from all different countries, all different nationalities who have intermarried, had children. So you have a Middle Eastern look, which people are only used to people that look like me, an Eastern European Jewish man. You would fit right in Israel with appearance.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, no one would question because of Jews from India, Pakistan, Ethiopia, North Africa. And this has been going on for 1,000 years. So by this point, you get people all, and then the next biggest remark I hear from people, they saw Jews that were blonde with blue eyes. And I do of course, Judaism's a religion, and you're tying it, to the nationality, which just isn't true. Now, if I want to become a Scot or Swiss, there are rules to become citizens of the country. One becomes a citizen. Israel, one becomes a citizen. Separate from your question about converting. So that's the first thing we want to clarify, that you certainly can. Second, it's your choice. We don't have sacraments in Judaism. I can't make you Jewish. What I can do is teach you, and you need to know enough to be able to say what Ruth said to Naomi, your people will be my people, your God will be my God, whether thou goest, I will go. That's the model for Jewish conversion. So the question is, how much does Moses need to know to be able to say, I'm Jewish? Nothing to do with me. It's between you, yourself, and the one. That's very unique. Unlike other religions that dip, sprinkle, follow a curriculum.
We like the sprinkle.
And there are some religions that don't recognize sprinkling and say you have to dip, right? In order for it to be valid.
This is true. But there are symbolic and cultural versions of that in Judaism as well. There is a conversion ceremony,
Right.
because I've seen it. And what's the name of the bath?
Mikvah.
The
The
mikvah
mikvah.
bath. Now, Moses, you're going to like this one. If a baby wants to convert, or because the parents are adopting and they want to convert the baby to Judaism, you have to be released in the water, not touching anybody or the sides. Even if you're like 6 months old, you have to let the baby in the pond by itself
Oh
for
wow.
just a moment.
I have done that, by the way, Joe. I've worked with families that adopted. We've taken infants to the mikvah, and then you just pull your hands away and then back again. This goes back to biblical days. John the Baptizer, he was Jewish. That the idea of the river is flowing water. A mikvah is flowing water. It's in a tank, but the water is constantly flowing in and out. So that's what we do today. Since we don't want to do it in the Potomac, we use like a swimming pool, but the water's flowing, not through.
Yeah, avoid jumping in the Potomac. It's just a preference and an interest, not a requirement. The only real requirement is you have to. I used to say back in the days when everybody was asking me if I was going to convert because my wife was Jewish and I had joined a temple just because of this guy here. All you have to really do is the happy slappy Jewish dance, and you're Jewish.
Now, what that means, Moses, if you go to any given rabbi, traditional and non-traditional, they will come up with a different curriculum that they think you need to be able to make the statement, I'm Jewish. So that's what varies.
Yeah.
The rituals vary: Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, Haredi, Chabad, Lubavitcher, Satmar. It's not the idea. The idea is all the same. But since it's so open, when I work with people, I ask them, what do you need in order to make the statement? How much knowledge? Do you want to do the slappy happy dance? Do you want to go to the mikveh and dip? All these things go into it. That's my approach. However, each denomination, and that's what you're hearing. Someone went to a conservative rabbi or an Orthodox rabbi, and they said, you have to do this. You don't have to. That's their, I took organic chemistry and flunked it 3 times. And it was after that they threw me out of the pre-med program. I wasn't easily discouraged. Well, as it turns out, I'm retired now, but I was an associate adjunct professor of medicine, University of Maryland School of Medicine.
Wow.
Okay, not as a doctor. I made it. And I have a lot of friends that couldn't get on the faculty and they were doctors. So there are many ways to get to the goal. And you would work with the rabbi. And when someone says to you, oh, they won't let you because your skin isn't as light as Joe's. And I don't want to say anything, Moses, but that's why I would never convert Joe. He's too white.
Joe, maybe next time.
Uh, he says things like that that just make me shake my head. But Rabbi Block is notorious for speaking what he thinks, and that is what I love about him so much.
So what are some of the statements or things people have said to you about conversion that even if they contradict what I said, what have you heard?
Yeah, I've heard like a wide range of uh, loops or hoops that you have to jump through. Kind of like, yeah, like in agreement with what you just said. I've heard that. I even heard like, I think I heard someone say like you would have to go to Israel and perform a ritual there as well. Different kinds of things.
None of them are true, Moses. They're individuals who heard something, or it may be the requirement of a rabbi. It's not a requirement of Judaism. Anything really absurd that someone said to you, not just the general hoops, did they actually tell you a hoop that they thought you had to jump through?
Like, for example, that you would have to, I think there was this ritual that you would have to do, like you have to wear this certain attire. I forgot what it was called. And then uh, say, say these words. Forgive me. I don't know
No, that's okay, and I didn't intend to put you on the spot, but what you're saying, I've heard all of them, and even more absurd. And the summary is, since we don't have a pope, bishops, cardinals, we don't have an authority,
yeah.
okay? Therefore, individual rabbis, based on their training, can act and can outline and tell you what they think you need. And Joe mentioned a conversion ceremony. I do conversion ceremonies because it's time for you to invite family and friends. You make a statement. Hey, I've decided. And let's make it public. We could do it on the YouTube channel. We can do it on TikTok. And that's the only purpose. It doesn't make you Jewish. It's really a public statement of your intent. And then a rabbi can say, unless you put these clothes on, I won't do it. I won't do the public statement. But they can't stop you from being Jewish. So I would ask you, how much would you need to know? What do you need to learn? That's how we would start. For you to say, I want to join the Jewish people.
The thing that comes to the forefront of my mind is I grew up like in a Christian household and with Christian ideology. And I guess my number one question is because a lot of times I've, you know, encountered people of other religions, whether it be Islam, Buddhism, but never Judaism. This is actually my first time really talking to a rabbi, talking to and just exploring this culture and just opening this door. So I guess my question would be, from someone who's grown up into a Christian household or Christian viewpoints, what would be the difference between, or just the main difference
Good
between
question.
Judaism? Because I think they're closely, most
They
people,
are. The sister, yeah, we talk about the three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. So you're absolutely right. Accepting Jesus as the Christ. Everything else is study. Everything else is a variation. But the one thing that separates, Judaism emphasizes works, your relationship with God, not faith. And in Christianity, when you want to convert, you're accepting Jesus as the Christ. And think of the ceremony of baptism. This you that in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I baptize you, or I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's it's that how you view the universe and your relationship to the one. Neither one is better, worse, just two different ways to, and that's why Christianity developed, because Christianity wanted people to have a personhood to attain God. Judaism said, no, just the two of you. And it's just a difference. Right, Joe? So that would you say that's the key factor is um, accepting Jesus as the only way for salvation or the way to salvation?
Well, I think that's true in almost all Christian religions. You can't really be Christian without believing in Jesus. It's kind of they're kind of strict about that. But the other interpretation is that you have to, as you put it, faith over deeds, because, and you'll hear this as you go along if you study this further, Moses, is that there is no heaven and hell in Judaism. There is just an interaction with God, and that your deeds are for the sake of doing good and following the words of God, not to get in or get a reward. Whereas a lot of, and this is the thing that I noticed from a very earlier age when the nuns were teaching me in parochial school, that the whole idea of following the Ten Commandments and doing everything was so you'd get into heaven. This is, don't you want to get into heaven? You've got to do this. You can't do that. And it's not, it's more about the doing the right thing as opposed to getting rewarded for doing the right thing. Would you say that's accurate?
Right. And everything else, Moses, is like shoes. You know, I had a rude awakening 10, 15 years ago, maybe more. I went to buy, used to play racquetball and I used to run. And I went to buy some replacement. And I walked into the store, and the first thing the young person said to me is, what are you going to do? Why do you want to wear them? What do you want? And I said, I want a pair of sneakers. And we both, yes, he did that. He just smiled at me. He said, oh no. And not only for racquetball, there are different racquetball shoes. And then there's different running shoes, and there's walking shoes, and then there's trainers, and then there's cross trainers. And this was a warehouse. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. When I was a kid, they were either high top or low, and you bought a pair of sneakers. That's the end of it. Well, that's religion is like the shoe store. You have to find out what fits you. And the rabbi is like the shoe salesman. I'm just your guide. I'm not going to tell you what's the best shoe or what you want. You tell me, and then I can say, oh, you're a perfect candidate for the Roman Catholic Church. This you'll find God there. Oh, you really should become Anglican. Roman Catholic Light is really for you. Be an Episcopalian. So think of Judaism as a shoe store, and think of me as a shoe salesman. So I want to help you find what fits.
That actually sparks a question in me, Rabbi. I wanted to ask, like, I don't think I asked this question. Did you grow up in a Judaism household?
It's a very common question. Yes, both my parents, grandparents, we all lived in one house together. But we're a Barry Levinson movie, my history. We lived in one house in Brookline, adjacent to Boston, and we weren't terribly observant. We observed the Sabbath and some of the holidays, but not strictly Orthodox. And this is my favorite part, Moses. There's something called confirmation in Judaism, which is high school graduation. And the way the religious education is set up, it's when you're a sophomore in high school, not a senior. Okay? It's 10th grade. 10th grade is confirmation. When one becomes 13 years old, you have a bar mitzvah. It's a ceremony that recognizes you're a Jewish adult. Okay. I was so impossible in religious school that the rabbi had to make a deal with my parents. I would only have a bar mitzvah if I didn't continue to confirmation. Usually it's just the opposite. Usually they want to keep you in. And usually they won't do a bar mitzvah unless you guarantee confirmation. I am very proud to say that that was the arrangement because I was the broken toy. I asked too many questions. I challenged too many people. I was a pain in the patootie. And therefore, I then went to a Catholic college. I was trained by the Jesuits, Moses. And if you want to hear my biography, it's called The Jesuit Rabbi on our YouTube channel, The Rabbi and I. So I want you to listen to The Jesuit Rabbi. And I wanted nothing to do with Judaism. I had it. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. And I would like to thank my Jesuit training and education for becoming a rabbi.
It's a great story. You got to watch that video. I
Wow.
think there is two of them, or is it just one? But anyway, the story is in detail is there,
Yeah.
and it
Wow.
just goes to show that if there's no one way to get from point A to point B, we all have our different paths.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's answered some of your questions, Moses. We would love for you to come back and ask more if we haven't satisfied you so far. And I want to thank you for coming. It's been a delight to have you. And I hope you've enjoyed us as much as we've enjoyed you. Rabbi, as always, thank you. And we always end with a word of wisdom by the rabbi.
God, in his infinite wisdom, provided an infinite number of ways to experience God. And I'm hoping that everyone comes to that understanding and does the best of their religion and not some of the worst.